thought was, instead of just talking about what this means, are we willing to take the risks? Are we willing to go even if you have failed many times to reach your goals, to go for your vision, to bring success? To do that, I thought I'll ask you some questions. Some of the workshops, when I do longer workshops, I use this, but I thought this is a good enough time. We are inaugurating something. This will be a good place to begin with an assessment. So, write if you have a paper and a pencil. If not, just think for yourself. How happy and how joyful am I in playing this role today? Whether you are doing a job, you can think of that job role, or you can think of your family role, whatever role you are playing in a family. Or if you are an entrepreneur, you can look at yourself being the CEO or CTO or whatever role you are playing. Pick up that role and ask yourself this question. How happy and or joyful am I playing this role day after day after day? So rate yourself with 0 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. Similarly, the other question is, when I do what I do I bring happiness and joy to other people? Again, rate from 0 to 10. Of course, you need to remember, you might be knowing that some people make others happy when they come into the room. When some people come into the room, lots of people are happy. But there are other kinds as well. When they leave the room, they make other people happy. So you have to know, are you the first kind of a person, or are you the second kind of a person? But both people make people happy. You just have to know. It's like that, you need to look at where you are. Alright? Once you gave yourself a rating on that, let's go to the next question. To what extent do I use my skills and competencies in the job or in the role that I play? If you have chosen a family role, you could be looking at as a wife or a husband or a mother or as a father or as a brother, whatever you want to look at. Similarly, if you have picked up your job role or your entrepreneur role, you might want to look at it and say, how many of the skills and competencies do I actually use on a day after day after day basis? Because if you notice, in turbulent times, we always say, oh, my manager doesn't use my skills. Oh, my team actually doesn't take advantage of all the competencies that I've got. Nobody recognizes me for who I am and what I got. I'm sure nobody in this room has no such complaints, but this is something I hear very commonly. If you have, this is the time to look at that. The flip side of it is again, to what extent do I get to learn new skills and new competencies that I value? See, many times we are so busy trying to say nobody uses our skills that when somebody presents you an opportunity to learn a lot of things which you don't know, we don't look at that as an opportunity. We look at that as a predicament. We look at it as saying, oh, you are putting me in a scenario that I don't know anything. But that's an opportunity if you really take that up. So rate yourself from 0 to 10 on both of those. Alright. Next one we'll go to is the service and contribution. Do you feel people serve you and contribute to you in this role? Have you ever had a scenario, my wife doesn't care about me, my kids don't listen to me, my boss actually never asks me opinion, my teammates just make decisions whether I'm there or not? If you are saying like that, where do you rate your, what you call, sense of service and contribution from other people? From 0 to 10. And similarly, if we ask people around you, whether it is work or family, what do they say about your service and your contribution to them? It's important, right? It's a fair game to look at it from both angles. What do you give and contribute? What do you receive and be contributed to? Give yourself a fair rating on what you think your contribution is and what other people's contribution is. Right? Let's go to the fourth one. Last one, just in case you are looking at the needs. How well are my needs being met by me playing this role? Whether it is financial needs, whether it is your career development needs, whether it is emotional, intellectual, spiritual, physical needs, how are they being met by you doing the job that you do, playing the role that you play? And similarly, how do you meet somebody else's needs for people around you? You yourself rating. Alright? Now let me just check, because I can go into the feedback on this, but before I do, how many of you actually did this exercise and you have some numbers in your mind? Please raise your hand. Less than half. Okay. So then I'll quickly move through it, but if any of you want, I can get back to that a little bit more. So, when you have this score on self-side, joy, happiness, skills, service and contribution, similarly what you contribute to others, add up whatever is the score on the left hand side and right hand side. Identify whether the right hand score is higher or left hand score is higher. Similarly, by the way, in case you got score on either side more than 40, you may have to start all over again. Just think about it. Alright. And if it is less than 0, that also you may have to think about it again. Just so there are boundaries for this. And it's not a math issue. Alright. So it may be self-esteem issue or other side, whatever you call it. Alright. So just keep that. Now, if you got scores between 55 and 80, when you add them up, you are in an enviable situation. Because I have worked with over 45,000 people in past 20 years. I have done this test with approximately about 6,000 people. There are large number of people, they think I got only 55 if I add up both LHS and right hand side, but still, why do you say I am in an enviable position? Because majority of the people don't even get 55 if they add up on both sides. If you have it, you need to count your blessings. That is one. Second one is to recognize that it is up to you to take leadership, to take it from here to whatever is the next step. So let me just check. How many of you are in the range of 55 to 80? Please raise your hands. Okay. It's okay. We won't count. We won't take photographs. We won't tell anybody else. It's okay. And also it's okay to raise hands, just in case. Alright. Next one. If your score is between 40 and 55, it's like 50% to 60% marks if you have given yourself, then you have to reflect and talk to other people who are involved in your life or work. Talk to other people and find out what action plan can you create so that you can increase those things. Because it is important for you to talk to, whether it is your manager, whether it is your team members, whether it is your spouse. You need to begin to look at it and say whether they can do this same thing for themselves and see where they are, and you look at where you are and see what is it that you can do to help them and ask them what is it that they can do to help you. Very quickly you will find out it doesn't become just a self-development, it becomes something extremely valuable because you got something communicated and you communicated something which you normally don't communicate in fundamental areas like joy, skills, service and meeting needs. These four are connected with physical, emotional, intellectual and spiritual needs. You will notice that there is a shift. Do this again after a few months and see whether this awareness and paying attention has paid off or not. If you got scores between 25 and 40, ask yourself, why are you in that role? And how long have you been in that role? Because it is up to you to stop being a victim and do something about it. Because nobody is actually putting you in a particular role. You have a choice. Even in a turbulent environment like this, if you are feeling so miserable, it is up to you to do something. Nobody else is going to do it for you.